hosting right now a program where we talk to Americans who have been to Tanzania on safari. Either they have been to Mount Kilimanjaro, they have been to Zanzibar by the beach, or they have been to Serengeti, and they share with us their experience. And today we have a very special guest, Mr. Balozi, Ambassador Donald Wright, United States Ambassador to Tanzania. He has been to places. If you go to his social media, you know what I'm talking about. So we'll talk about his time in Tanzania. He has been on the road. He has seen all the. He has seen the rhinos. You know, he has been to Zanzibar, and then he's going to talk to us about his time in Tanzania. Hopefully, you get your time to also come down here and see for yourself. Balozi, karibu sana.
Asante sana.
So, shikamo.
Marahaba.
So in Tanzania, shikamo basically means, you know, it's greetings of respect. But you can say mambo if you're talking to your age mates. You learn that when you're here. So, Balozi, this was your first time in Tanzania. You've been here before you became an ambassador.
Yes.
Can you tell us about that?
Absolutely. By background, I'm actually a physician. And very early in my medical career, some 30 years ago, I came to Tanzania to serve as a physician volunteer in the Mwananchi Moja Hospital in Zanzibar. There was a Save the Children unit there. I worked with the watoto of the country, treating malaria, malnutrition, a number of things. And I think it was during that visit that I developed such a strong appreciation of the beauty of Tanzania and the beauty of the people of Tanzania.
Wow, that's nice. So you came back 30 years later. What do you see changed in Tanzania?
Well, certainly the beauty of the people and the beauty of the country has not changed. There are major infrastructure developments that have occurred over the previous 3 decades. But the things that I came to appreciate on that original visit to Tanzania, the beauty of your country, the park systems, etc., have not changed.
In your spare time, you travel a lot. What's the best place that you've visited? You say like, wow, this is amazing.
First of all, let me say that's an impossible question. Every place I go, I think this is the best place in Tanzania. And it's a country of diversity. It's a large country. Whether you're laying on a beach or enjoying the beach in Zanzibar, or you're in the Serengeti, or you're in the Southern Highlands, Tanzania is a country of great diversity. So I don't know that I have one place that is absolutely my favorite.
Which state are you from in the U.S.? And then if a Tanzanian would love to visit your state, what would they find there?
Absolutely. Well, let me tell you, I'm from the Jimbola, Texas. I'm from Texas. If you don't know, it's one of the largest states. I think we're the second largest state. And so like Tanzania, there's a great deal of diversity in the state of Texas. We have beautiful beaches, we have forest, we have desert areas. And so there's a great deal of diversity in the landscape within Texas, all very enjoyable to Tanzanians that want to visit the state. I think we're very known for cultural diversity as well. The Hispanic population in Texas continues to grow, so there's a heavy influence of Hispanic culture in Texas. San Antonio is a great place to visit to experience that. So many opportunities within Texas.
One of your tweets that went viral is when you went to buy chapatis at Mama Mirage, and everybody was like, "Oh, okay, okay." So chapati is as Tanzanian as, let's say, pancake is American. It's for breakfast or something like that. So preferably for breakfast. Who introduced to chapatis?
I have to say I'd never tried chapati until I came to Tanzania. I visited a local bakery and they sold me some chapati. I realized early on I really liked chapati. But what I heard from individuals around the embassy is that Mama Miraji, who is literally a block from here, has the best chapati in Dar es Salaam. So I had to go and visit one of your local vendors and try her chapati, and it was nzuri sana. Tamu sana.
Would you carry on eating chapati even when you go back to States? Because you have to learn how to make it though, right?
And yeah. Well, you can buy chapati. It's not easy in the United States, and certainly it'll be a part of my diet long after I leave Tanzania.
Apart from visiting the chapati vendors, but we see that even when you're on the road, like you'd stop by and buy like handmade baskets from from the local vendors. That is very crucial for the local tourist industry. What can an ordinary American coming to Tanzania do to support these local tourist industries, like the handmade baskets, stuff like that?
Great question. And let me tell you, long after I leave here as the U.S. ambassador, I think some of my most treasured memories will be stopping at these local vendors. Whether it's buying some mahindi, some grilled mahindi on the roadside as a snack, or stopping by vegetable vendors, or going to Kariakoo Market. It's interacting with the local Tanzanians that I've come to enjoy. Even on some of my exercise routes in town, I will stop on Cocoa Beach and have some madafu from some of the local vendors. I enjoy interacting with the local Tanzanians, but I also know that it's empowering some of the local vendors. It's patronizing some of the local vendors. You know, the United States Embassy has been heavily engaged in women's empowerment. And so when I see a female vendor, I especially want to stop and see if there's an opportunity to buy vitungu or other things from some of your local vendors, and I will continue to do that.
Which means your Swahili must have really improved, because you have to negotiate the price. You know that?
Yes, there is always some negotiation. I'm not a very good negotiator, but yes, as we talk about the price, whether it's pineapples at Kariakoo or Mbeya rice. Each area of this country has some unique features. As I was going in Mbeya just last week, my Mpishe told me, don't come back without some Mbeya rice.
Definitely, definitely, that's needed. You've been one of the lucky people to see rhinos that are, we sort of know that they're endangered species. Well, what was that experience like?
Wonderful experience in Mkomazi. You know, you need to know that by background, when I was at the university, my area of study was zoology. I have a great interest in the animal kingdom, and so what a treat it was to be assigned to Tanzania as the U.S. ambassador. Here at the embassy, we've been very involved in wildlife conservation, in conservation area, in areas around the country. And when I had a chance to visit the Black Rhino Sanctuary in the northern part of the country, I was thrilled to see that TANAPA and other wildlife groups in the country were focused on trying to repopulate this endangered species. The number of rhinos they had was increasing. They were very intent on trying to bring the rhino population back to Tanzania. You know, truly one of the richest experiences here in this country is your park system. Tanzania has set aside 30% of their land for parks, and that is something you don't see around the world. But quite frankly, I want to make sure that your children, your grandchildren, your great-grandchildren have the opportunity to see the beauty. So we will continue to be very engaged in wildlife conservation here at the embassy. The work that's being done around the rhinos in the northern part of the country, I have to say it's probably not as well known, but they're also trying to repopulate the wild dog population at that same park, another endangered species. So these are areas that we certainly want to support and get behind to ensure that the richness of Tanzania is available for generations to come.
Is there anything as just an ordinary Tanzanian or as an American tourist can do to help in that effort?
Well, I think there are a number of NGOs, many of them American-led, that focus on wildlife conservation and certainly getting involved in those areas. And there's examples of U.S. wildlife groups that have addressed wildlife concerns, be it anti-poaching or conservation efforts around the country.
Coming from that, I came here with the news about MCC project that was done in Mafia Island. Mafia Island is an island in Tanzania, and you did help with the airport. Can you tell people more about that, please?
Yes. Well, let me tell you, your readers, those listening to the broadcast, that Mafia is another place they ought to put on their to-do list. The ability to see the whale sharks there. I had an opportunity to go over a year ago and swim with the whale sharks, and it is a memorable wildlife experience. But it's true, when you land in the airport in Mafia, there is a big sign that says this airport is a gift from the American people, and it was through an MCC grant. I'm currently working arm in arm with the host government, with the Tanzanian government, to help them to qualify for future MCC grants moving forward. There are examples of infrastructure projects in the southern part of the country. Rural electrification was a big issue during the Kikwete administration, in which $700 million came to Tanzania to increase the power grid in Tanzania. Water projects, the list is endless. So certainly, as I look to the future of Tanzania, I hope there are additional projects here that are funded through the MCC program.
You can't really be a tourist if you don't have that wow moment. And I was just going through your pictures. One of those pictures is that you're holding this big snake, and I was like, "There's no way you can make me hold that snake." How does one make an ambassador hold that snake? How did that come about?
I have to tell you, it's probably the most surprising experience I've had here in Tanzania. Kubwa sana. The snake was huge. But I think one of the beauties of Tanzania is the diversity in cultural experiences here. You're a country with over 150 different tribes, and each of them has their own culture, and really was honored when I was in Mwanza to be introduced to many of the cultural dances and music of the Sukuma people, including attending the local museum there. I think you probably know that the Sukuma is part of the traditional dance with snakes. And then they invited me down to actually hold the snake. When I shared the picture with people back in the United States, they were shocked that I was holding such a large snake. Pamoja na imke wako.
And can any tourists do that? Can people get that picture moment if they go to the museum?
Well, I've been to several traditional dances of the Sukuma people, including one just 3 weeks ago, and they brought out the snakes, and there was an opportunity for photos. But I'll tell you, those are the types of memories that tourists will take back to the United States and never forget.
Have you ever been to Kilimanjaro? Like, have you ever tried to climb the mountain, or do you have ambitions to do that?
I would love to climb Kilimanjaro, lakini mimi ni mzee.
Oh no, actually no. Actually, there are people who are much older that do climb the mountain.
Well, it's certainly on my to-do list. I would love to climb Kilimanjaro. As I'm driving towards Moshi or Arusha, I always hope it's a cloudless day so you can see it. Some days the beauty of Kilimanjaro is obscured by the clouds, and some days it's perfect. But I know from my colleagues here at the embassy that have done this, it is a lifelong experience.
So Serengeti National Park was named a few days ago as the best national park in Africa, and that's 4 years in a row. You've been to Serengeti. How was your experience? And out of the big five, which is your favorite animal?
Well, let me tell you, the Serengeti is known worldwide. And, you know, I think across the globe, if you ask people where they would like to go on safari, Serengeti is at the top of the list. It just has a major reputation. And I would encourage tourists to go to Serengeti, but they also need to understand that they can have similar experiences in the other parks within the country. Along the southern circuit, Selous, Ruaha. I don't want Serengeti to become so overpopulated that in any way it endangers that. And so I hope there's an opportunity for Americans to see the richness of some of your southern corridor parks as well.
Will they get the same experience?
They will see the exact same animals. Certainly you don't see the great migration that you sometimes see in the Serengeti, but the beauty of the animals, the animal population is there as well. I have to also tell you, one of my highlights of my time here was going to Lake Tanganyika and seeing Gombe and the chimpanzees of Gombe. I had the opportunity to go to the Jane Goodall Institute, and that's a conservation group. As you know, she committed her life to studying the chimpanzees in those areas. And I went and I got to meet 50 of her closest friends, 50 of the chimpanzees when I was there. So good work going on there. The opportunities across this country.
So there's so much more places that they can go to.
Absolutely. I ran into an American tourist on a recent flight, and she told me this was her 4th summer to be to Tanzania. She keeps coming back because there's something else she wants to see.
Wow.
So one trip is often not enough.
You see, so now there's Tanganyika and other places, the southern corridor, so it's not only Serengeti. So Tanzania is big and you can go to all these places. Zanzibar, you've been on the capacity as a physician, but have you ever gone there just to relax by the beach, and how was the experience?
Oh, I love Zanzibar. And it's two different experiences in Zanzibar. I think you get the experience of Stone Town, which, as you know, is now a UNESCO site. The history, and you can see the Omani influence on Zanzibar just by walking through the streets of Stone Town. I love Stone Town. But then the beaches are some of the best in the world on Zanzibar, and I've had an opportunity to experience some of the beaches on Zanzibar and even on Nimba Island, which is right off the coast of Zanzibar as well.
After COVID, Tanzania, our president did launch a tourism marketing or initiative in the United States, and we have been having people coming in. American superstars, celebrities do come to Tanzania. In what way can we use the opportunity to sort of make our natural resources, our national parks, more known to Americans?
Well, I think the reputation of Tanzania will only increase as normal Americans, everyday Americans visit Tanzania, but also some of the celebrities that we have from the U.S. The list of individuals that have visited Tanzania is long, including our former president, President Obama, had an opportunity to visit the Serengeti in the Grumeti area. And I know each of those tourists, whether they're typical Americans or celebrities, carry back memories that they share with their neighbors, their friends, which then only markets your country to further visits from other Americans.
Well, we've seen you in the soccer matches, at our national stadium. Sports in Tanzania is one of the most favorite activities that people go through. Which is your favorite team?
Well, first of all, let me tell you I'm a diplomat, so I have to be careful here. But let me assure you that anytime the Tanzanian national team, men or women, there's no question who I'm supporting. I'm supporting the Tanzanian national team. Do I have a favorite of Yanga or Simba? Hapana. I support both teams and I hope on each individual day that the best team on that day comes out victorious.
You didn't tell me, out of the big five animals, which?
Oh, you know, the big five animals, I probably have two that I really enjoy watching. First of all, the elephants. And in particular, Timbo Watoto. I find the elephant babies, the small children, to be so fun to watch, their habits. And then the family units, the matriarchs and the children all being together. But I also like the lions and watching them. And again, if they have cubs, it's even more fun to watch the Watoto chimps. If you ask me absolutely my favorite animal, it's neither of those. It's the wild dog population. You know, I think it's the sense of community that the dogs have, of where they communally go out and hunt as a team and they take care of the children as a team. I just like the social structure of the wild dog population.
Wow, okay, I didn't expect that. So wild dogs is favorite animals. So you're very active on social media. You go to these places, you post all these things. What makes you do that?
Well, I want to share with the others, Americans in country, other Tanzanians, the beauty of their country, and it's a way to message that, but also to the people back in the United States that are following me from there. I want to share not only the beauty of Serengeti that they've heard about, but the beauty of stopping by a local vendor and buying some mahindi or holding a snake outside of Mwanza. I have to credit this incredible social media team I have, Muhammad and others, that seem to capture me wherever I am and make sure that others are able to kind of vicariously live my journey as I go around your country.
Recently, we saw you drumming to the beat and with Mr. Sugu. How did that come about?
Well, let me say Mr. Sugu is a friend that I've met through the embassy here. He actually had a major concert here in the city at the Serena Hotel, and he invited me, and that was my introduction to Sugu. I think your President Samia, actually attended this as well, and it was through that experience that I got to know him. And so when I found out I was going to be in Mbeya, I made a point to go by, and then we decided to do a little music together. So I did a little drumming, and who knows, maybe someday we'll do a record together.
Hopefully, because he did suggest a producer that you guys can work with. African music is now gaining popularity in the United States. Do you listen to our local musicians in Tanzania, and which songs has caught your attention?
Well, I will say across the cultural landscape, there's such talent here in Tanzania. Certainly in the music realm, but also your graphic artist. My wife has been very engaged in trying to promote some of the artists. We've had some American artists come and actually train the local artists on how to improve their artist technique. And one particular artist that we had here as a visiting teacher has taken some of the artwork of Tanzanians back to the United States for marketing purposes. I have to say, you've got a burgeoning film industry as well. We did what we could to promote Binti, which was a major movie with 2 female producers here in country, and we did what we could to raise the visibility. And as you probably know, that movie is featured now on Netflix and opening up for millions. I don't think the extent of Tanzanian talent, whether we're talking about in filmmaking or art, is fully appreciated, and part of my role is to make sure that it's discovered.
And your favorite music that you listen to now?
Well, I have to say the music that I listen to now is probably still American music.
Okay.
But I do enjoy going and hearing, even in Zanzibar, the music in Zanzibar has a very different flavor than what you hear here on the mainland. I really consider it part of the cultural experience to see the traditional dance, the traditional music, the traditional art. All that kind of defines a culture, and I've tried to expose myself to as much of that as I can.
You raised a very interesting point to Americans or tourists in general. When they come here, they should venture farther than just Serengeti, because there are many other places. And you know, because what is widely known is Serengeti, Kilimanjaro, Zanzibar. So you say there's so much more that they can go and visit, right? So can you tell someone who coming from the United States, when they come here, where they can go?
The opportunities here are limitless. As you probably know, an American film producer, Peter Greenberg, came and produced the Royal Tour. And he had the opportunity to show Americans the beauty of Zanzibar. He went to the Serengeti, he went to Ngorongoro Crater, and I think those are probably the most well-recognized tourist sites in the country. But I think he heard back from Tanzanians, oh, that's just a small part of what we have here. And I know there's efforts to bring him back, to take him more into the southern part of the country, the Salud, Katulo, and the beautiful flowers of Katulo, Mahali, and some of those others. So I think as more of your park systems are known, there will be a natural migration from these more typical places that tourists have always come to some of the more undiscovered parts of Tanzania.
So you have heard it from Balozi, there's so much more to offer in Tanzania, so you can just, if you travel a little bit further, still get to see all these animals that you see the lions and everything else. What other places that you want to visit when you're here in Tanzania?
Well, I've covered pretty much the country, but I always look for an opportunity to go back. One of the parks I have not been to, but I've scheduled it for next month, is Tangeri, near Lake Manyara, and I want to visit that park system. If an opportunity ever came to go to Katavi, I would take advantage of that. I haven't been to Katavi either. So there's still opportunities. I've been here over 2 years and had the opportunity to richly travel, but I haven't seen everything that's to be here.
I hope you get all the time in the world to visit all these places. Tanzania is big, as you said, and there are many places to see.
Very good.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.